Welcome back, everybody. I'm Celine, and I got married 13 times in Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma. If you missed the streams, you can always catch them on my YouTube channel, but in today's video, I'm going to give my personal ranking and opinions for all of the love interests in the game. Of course, this is going to be different for everybody, but I wanted to share my thoughts in a video since I put in all the legwork. Some of the stories made me cry, some of them made me gasp, most of them made me laugh, and one made me angry. So let's get into it. So this is how we're going to do it. I set up a little bit of a tier list here so that we can see all of the love interest here at the bottom. As a disclaimer, this only involves the main story love interest. There is a DLC that you can buy where you can romance Traylong and Pilaka, which I do plan to do. I just haven't recorded it yet. So this is just going to be the main love interests for the game. So our categories are S tier, which is my one true love, or it could be two, one female and one male, one true loves. Happily ever after, where I think that it's a very cute romance. I think we will have a great marriage and live happily ever after. Cute is, it was a cute romance. I very much enjoyed it, but it's, you know, mid-tier, nothing really that stands out. Besties is where a lot of people are going to be. It was a nice story. I like the character personally, but we're better off as friends. And then there may be one or maybe two no thanks, where I still like the character, but as far as any type of romantic interests, no thank you, pass. As a reminder, these are just my opinions on what I personally like in a romantic interest or not. Everybody's going to be different, and I really would love if you write in the comments if you think differently, who your favorite was, and any other opinions that you have. I don't want to give too many spoilers, so I am going to tell you a little bit about the characters and the dates just to give you a little bit of background, but not too much information. So let's get into it. Honestly, there's not really a particular order that I placed the characters in. It was really just who I saw and created the little, you know, faceplate for. So there's really no order here to what we're going to do. But I guess we could start with Hina. Hina is a returning character from Rune Factory 5, though she was a child in that game. Now she's a member of Seed and a romantic option, which is still a bit odd, honestly. She kept talking about her hero, which I assume is the protagonist that you play in Rune Factory 5, and she brings up her childhood friend Julian and her mom a lot in the story. It's a nice callback to Rune Factory 5 if you've played the game. Maybe it's just my jaded view, but the story was sweet. I just couldn't really get into it romantically, even though it seemed to be kind of heavily romantic. Like they were really letting you know that she is no longer a child and she's a romantic option who believes in love. But for me, Hina falls in the bestie category because I still just can't get over that, you know, she was a child in the last game. So that's where Hina lands. Matsuri is the goddess of summer and she presides over the summer village. When you confess to her, she wants to shout it from the rooftops, and she does, which is very adorable. I thought it was very sweet. She takes us fishing on one date and we play games in another. It was all very cute, but it didn't feel too romantic to me. So for me, Matsuri falls into the bestie category. Fubuki is the god of winter and presides over the winter village. He is very soft-spoken and timid, but he is so sweet. Right from the beginning, he is all in for the romance, and I honestly was pretty smitten. On our dates together, you solve a very beautiful romantic mystery, which I really liked that aspect of the story. He has a lot of healing to do, and you help him work through a lot of that. He ends up being more sure of himself, and I love that for him. For me, Fubuki is firmly in the cute rank though, but I probably could make an argument for happily ever after. Kurama is the god of autumn, and he loves playing games, all kinds of games. He's very well spoken, and everything he says sounds very poetic. He made me gasp, and it was a very romantic-y book move that I was not expecting from him at all. He is probably my vote for the best dad potential. He was very sweet, very surprisingly fun, and everything was very romantic. So for me, Kurama falls into the happily ever after rank. Our next bachelorette is Iroha. She is a resident of the Spring Village and runs the tea shop. She is famous for her dango, and her whole life revolves around it. She also has an adorable little sister, Suzu. I fully expected Iroha to have a very adorable romance story, and I was devastated. I want to let everyone have their own opinion, but for me, she was an emotional roller coaster. She's one of those girls that yells at you a lot. And after the awful first date, I was just really soured. So for me, Iroha is very sadly a no thank you. Mauro is our next bachelor, and he's an adventurer who is very fixated on fulfilling his own dreams. From the start and our confession, he was very much red flag energy for me, basically saying that he doesn't want a relationship because he doesn't want to be held back. He constantly seems like he's going to leave at any moment, which doesn't exactly scream stable to me. And a lot of the romantic story is basically your character worrying if he's going to stay around or not. So there's another date too where he gives you a gift that he absolutely hates, and it really was just not for me. So Mauro also falls into the no thanks rank. Ulalaka is the god of spring, and she is one of the sweetest characters in the entire game. She was my very first wife, and I'm actually still waiting for our first child to be born. I kind of left and married like 10 other people, but I'm excited to get back to that fate. For her story, she's mainly worried about the differences between us, our character being mortal and her being immortal. She reads a lot of romance novels, and overall the story is just very sweet. All she wants is for you to be happy. So for me, Ulalaka is firmly in the happily ever after rank. Our next bachelor is Murasama. He is a master swordsman with a traumatic backstory. You learn very early on that he made a pact with a Yoma in exchange for more power and strength to become the world's strongest swordsman. His romance story is really all about helping him realize that he doesn't need the pact and that he can overcome his past and restore his family's honor without it. He thinks that he is unworthy of your affection, but in the end, you rescue him and win him over. It was very wonderful, a heartwarming story of love and support even when you're being tested. If you have watched any of my streams, you know that Murasama is my one true husband. Ikaruga is our next bachelor. He is a leader in the mystical arts. And from the beginning, he makes it pretty clear that he doesn't like kids, which made me a little bit standoffish from the beginning for the romance. He's very career focused, but he doesn't hesitate to be your boyfriend, so that's nice. You finish his backstory, and overall, it is a very sweet story about him basically honoring his master, but for me, he falls into the besties category. Our next bachelorette is Clarice. Clarice is the leader of the Dawn Star trio and pretty much an antagonist for the majority of the game, but if you do get to the end, she becomes a romantic interest, and thank goodness. Due to story reasons, she has a lot of trauma and healing to work through, but her romantic story really shows that she has a sweeter side to her. It's really a wonderful and emotional story that I very much enjoyed. I don't want to spoil anything, but I will say that Clarice, my darling, is my one true wife. Kai is the god of the underworld. He is a bit self-centered, and he's always messing with Kurama and not paying his tab at Yachio's restaurant. But really, he has a good heart. His romance story is one of my favorites, and it really developed his character. Plus, you see under his mask, which he is described by one of the game developers as the most attractive character in the game. So for me, Kai is in the happily ever after category. Our last bachelor is Subaru. Subaru is your childhood friend and betrothed, and the semi-antagonist for most of the story, and also one of the optional players that you can play if you choose the male lead. Before the game came out, I thought Subaru would be in the top 2 of my marriage choices. There are certain storylines that you have to choose to be able to get him to be a romantic interest, and I made sure to do it. However, when you start his bonding quests, he starts out quite mean. He does have a lot of trauma, of course, but it was a while for me until I was even interested in pursuing him. However, you do get a lot of the backstory, and his romance quest took a long time to complete, so in the end, it ended up being a very sweet story, and I even cried a little bit. But for me, Subaru is still in the besties rank. And our last bachelorette and love interest is Kanata. She is the god of light and the heavens. She's very sweet and intelligent, but also comes across as kind of childlike. For most of her dates, her caretaker Rune is present and or yelling at her the whole time. But still, it's a very sweet storyline where you pretty much embarrass her the whole time. There's lots of blushing and actually a bit of a misunderstanding, but overall a very good romance, and it was just adorable. So for me, Kanata falls into the cute rank. And there you have it. After marrying everyone in Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma, Murasama and Clarice have stolen my heart. Again, these are just my opinions, and I'm very happy if you disagree. I'd love for you to comment below who your favorite romance was and even your least favorite romance. The beauty of it is there's definitely someone for everyone, and everybody is deserving of love. Thank you for stopping by my channel for another video. I would love for you to comment below with who you personally liked or didn't like in Guardians of Azuma. If you missed any of my live streams, you can catch them all on my channel so you can watch the storylines if you don't have time to play them out for yourself. I encourage you to do that. Go into the game and try the Rewoven Fates and marry everybody and see who you personally like or don't like. Until then, bye for now.